welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about what I spent on plants this year. So as you know, I'm currently on a plant ban and I am doing my absolute very best to stick to it, and I think I can get away with saying that I will not be spending any more money on plants this year, so I can officially give you the receipts on how much I spent on my plants this year. If you are new here and you don't know me already, my name is Emma and I make houseplanty content all over the internet, so if you want to follow along with my houseplant journey and maybe learn something along the way, stick around, watch some more of my videos, and subscribe to my channel. If you're not new here, thank you so much for returning. I really appreciate it. Also, enjoy Plantmas. We're here every day for most of December. Right, let us get into it. So I have been wanting to do this video literally since last year, and I don't know why I didn't do it last year, but I have started very accurately recording what I have been spending on plants and plant equipment, but for this video I just want to keep it as plants. If you're here, you probably understand that this hobby is somewhat of an addiction. I know I mentioned it in talking about a plant ban in a video a few ago, and I just think it's important to be very transparent about how much I'm spending to make my collection what it is. I also want to preface this by saying as well that I am very, very fortunate in that plants are my job, and so the money that I make from doing YouTube and doing sponsorships and all that stuff, I get to spend on plants because I make content about them. I'm also very lucky in that I get lots of plants gifted to me and sent to me in order to show to you and in exchange for content, and so I do get lots of free plants. And so I want to say that this isn't a full picture of everything. I will be including how much I got gifted this year as well at the end, but let's talk about what I spent first. So January 2022, I said one of my goals was to not spend any money on plants that year. I very promptly broke that plant ban no spend year on the 18th of January when I bought a Hoya carrii. That was £34.99. It was not just a regular carrii, it was a reverse, so like it was a little bit special, but I really needed it because I was doing my heart-shaped leaves video, and I don't think you can accurately have a heart-shaped leaves video without including it for Valentine's Day, so I needed it for a video was my justification, but I think it opened the floodgates. On the 28th of January, I bought a Sis's Discolor as well. I bought that one from Instagram. One of my friends was having a sale of plants on Instagram, and I think the plant I have now of my Sis's Discolor is that one. So I've had that one for nearly a year at this point, which is exciting, and it's growing really well for me, and I'm really happy about it, so yeah. But that's all I spent on plants in January. On the 3rd of February, I bought a Synapsis Silver Hero off of Facebook because I really wanted it, so I bought it. Oh god, and that was £14. On February 20th, so I did pretty well not spending for most of February, I bought 3 Hoyas because I saw someone I knew on Instagram was selling some Hoyas, so I bought a Latifolia, a Caudata, and a Crassiopetulata Splash. The Crassiopetulata is one of my favorite Hoyas. It's just so dark and beautiful and splashy that I'm not mad about it, but I spent £64 on those. Not a small amount on Hoyas. And then the 24th of February is where we get into, surprisingly, one of my biggest purchases. I spent £130 on a single plant. It was my Philodendron Glorious. I bought that from North Tropicals, and it was an import through them, so they were importing them, and then I would have to acclimate the plant myself, which I did, and I absolutely love my Glorious. Y'all have seen it a bunch recently because it has just grown so well for me over the past year that like I'm not mad about it, and I'm not mad that I spent that money because I think it was definitely worth it. I absolutely love that plant, and I'm so glad I decided to like take that plunge and spend that money, because otherwise I wouldn't have it and it would be sad. But yeah, that was all I spent in February, which is, I mean, a lot still, over 100 pounds. I got about halfway through March before spending on plants. I think I was still trying to like pretend that I was on a plant ban, but I went plant shopping with Lisa and I bought 2 plants. That's when I bought my fishtail Hoya and my jewel orchid. I spent 60 pounds that day on plants, which, fine. I can't justify any of these other than that I wanted them. Oh, later that month, on March 25th, I spent 106 pounds and 85 pence on 4 plants from Grow Tropicals: a Philodendron Gigas, a Philodendron Brillimarx Fantasy, 2 Epipremnum Variegatas, and a Hoya Croniana Splash. And almost all of those plants were quite small, so me spending 100 pounds on them was kind of a big deal. But at the same time, I really wanted them, so I did it. But that was all I spent in March, which, again, not terrible, like about 170 pounds. So that's good, we're only in March. Just you wait, my friends. In April, I bought a rare plant rescue box from Ivy and the Wolf, which a lot of you actually probably haven't seen because I basically only showed it over on my Patreon because I really struggled with those plants. And like, nothing wrong with the box, but of course it's a mystery box, so I don't get to pick what goes in it, but I wasn't the biggest fan of a lot of the stuff that went in it, so it just wasn't my proudest moment, and I was unable to rescue some of the plants in there, so I felt really bad about it, to be honest. And I spent 36 pounds 90 on plants that mostly died, which feels a bit pathetic. On the 16th of April, I bought anthurium seeds from Mark at £12.50. I think I got 3 seeds, and so far they're still doing well. They're still on my shelves over there. They're still alive and they're still kicking, so that's good. I can't believe that was April. Oh my god. This year just went by so freaking fast. Oh, okay. In May, I only had 1 plant purchase, and I bought myself a Hoya Actua from Loz's Leaves on Instagram, and that was 25 pounds. I just really wanted it. So good job me in May. In June, I again spent a lot of money, and I think I gained a lot of plants in June. From one of my friends who's moving away, I gave them 40 pounds for the variegated Aspidistra, the Cebu Blue, the Snow Queen Pothos, some nursery pots and perlite, which doesn't really count. But yeah, I got a lot of plants from her, which was really good. That was on the 6th of June. And then I proceeded to put in a big House of Kojo order on the 22nd of June. I spent 52 pounds, and I got a Manjula Pothos, an Aglaonema White Lance, a Hoya Curtsii, a Hoya Rosita, an Epipremnum Amplissimum Silver Stripe, and some pots from House of Kojo, which I pretty sure I had a gift card for. Oh no, I had a gift card for 50 pounds and I spent 100, so I spent 50. Yeah, no, that's the right amount. And then late June 25th, I got a Marantis Silver Band and a Sansevieria Zelenica, as well as some plants of First and Friends, a variegated aloe, and a red Maranta First and Friends, totaling at 46 pounds 44. So again, not a cheap month. I spent at least 100 pounds that month. For some reason, I didn't buy any plants in July. I don't know where that time went. Oh, I think I was getting a bunch of, yeah, I think I got a bunch of imports gifted to make videos on, so I didn't feel like I needed to buy plants at that time. And then in August, even though I was gone on holiday for 2 weeks in August was one of my biggest spending months. I went to the Rare Plant Festival up in Leeds, and Ecuagenera was there, and so I got 2 anthurium from them, the Regal and the Warwickwianum, which I absolutely love, and those totaled 135 pounds, which I think you would probably buy one of those for 135 pounds, like, acclimated already in the UK, and so I'm not mad at that purchase. And then I also spent £60 on an alocasia, the branchifolia, pink passion, and the no ID plant that I got from Grow Tropicals at their Rare Plant Festival. So that was a lot, and that was all of that was so like 200 pounds I spent in one day on the 21st of August. On the 27th of August, I got those variegated anthurium seedlings through Lisa. I think she knew someone on Instagram, and I spent 14 pounds on those. And then I got myself another Alocasia Mellow corm. Maybe it was like a tiny baby leaf, but the baby leaf died quickly. I got that off of Instagram for 16 pounds. So again, August was a big spending month for me. And then September was also a big spending month. I think because it was summer, it's so bright, that's when my plants are growing great. Like, I'm not worried about things getting shipped and dying in the post and whatever, so I continued to buy a bunch of plants. But these three actually were three of my wish list plants that I had wanted for a really long time to make my like wish list plant haul video. So I bought the Hoya New Guinea Ghost off of eBay for 120 pounds. So thinking about my two biggest plant spends, it was the New Guinea Ghost for 120 pounds, which is tiny, and then the Glorious for 130 pounds, which is huge. And so I think it's really funny that one of my bigger plants and one of my smaller plants cost nearly the same this year, and that was a lot. And then from House of Kojo, I got the large form Monstera and the Calathea ornata for 65 pounds. So that was another very high spending month. And then I decided, as of the 1st of October, because it was starting to cool off, I know we had a fairly mild October in general, but I was quite busy planning the plant swap, and I felt like I was quite overwhelmed with the plants that I had, so I decided from October I was going to be going on my plant ban. So I decided I wasn't going to spend any more money until March, so try and make it almost 6 months without spending. And I very, very, very nearly did it. I have bought 4 plants since. I bought various cacti and succulents for my cacti and succulent experiment, which I can link in the clickable eye. So I bought them for a video, so I don't think they totally count, but I bought them in November for £17.74. So my grand total in spending for all of 2022 on houseplants was £1,077.82, which I am kind of surprised about. I thought it was going to be more money. I genuinely thought it was going to be more money, but that is less than £100 a month on plants, which seems pretty crazy. But like I said, I have been getting more plants other than that as well. I have received lots and lots and lots of gifted plants throughout the year. Approximately £950 worth of free plants. And I say free because they were gifts, I didn't have to give them money, but they are always in return for my services for creating videos on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram content. Like, it's for one, exposure for them, and also like my time and content. So I mean, I've probably undercharged in some cases. So I guess in total the like value of all of the plants that came into my home this year was about £2,000, which I think feels about more right. I know that half of that wasn't my spending money, but it was my time at the same time, so. But I've also kind of nerded out a bit about finances here and decided to make some graphs because I was curious to see. I'm a very visual person, and so I wanted to see in a visual way how I spent my money. So let me put them up for you on the screen. So this first graph was how I spent my money by month, and if you can see on the left hand side here, in June, August, and September, that is basically half of the entire spending on plants I spent this summer. And I'm actually not very surprised about that because I try to avoid spending money on plants in winter and buying plants when I know it's not the best for them to be moving and stuff like that, and I'm trying to focus more on my own plant care. So I'm not totally surprised by it, but I thought it was very interesting to see that like very stark half of my spending was during the summer this year. But then also you have big months like February and March when I bought things like the Glorious, and what did I buy in March? That was so expensive. Oh yeah, that big Grow Tropicals order that like kind of even out the winter side as well. Oh god. The next graph I have is my spending by plant source. So just over 50% of my spending was done online. I spent about £547 online buying plants, and I think that is because I am getting more into the rarer plant side of things, and those are less likely to be bought in person. Average plant shops don't have them, and so the reason why my IRL spending was so high was because I went to the Rare Plant Festival up in Leeds, and Grow Tropicals and Ecuagenera were there, and so otherwise I would have bought those things online, and it would have like probably cut the IRL spending in half. And then I have a few purchases as well from Facebook and Instagram, and I wanted to include that because that's not through a specific store. Those are from like private collectors, and that is me sending money directly to somebody, and it's just a sort of buying privately as opposed to buying from a shop. So I thought that was very interesting. Less than a quarter of all of my spending on plants was through private collectors, which I was a bit surprised about. I thought it would be more, but my online spending is just a bit through the roof. I also thought it would be interesting to see which plant genus I bought the most of throughout the year, and I bought the most Hoyas. I think 2022 has definitely been a Hoya year. I think for a lot of people, we've all become Hoya heads over the course of 2022. I say we all. A lot of us have. And so that doesn't surprise me. My next highest was philodendrons, followed by epipremnum and anthurium. I feel like that is pretty consistent with the plants that I'm buying. And also, getting a lot of Hoyas is useful because most of the Hoyas that I'm getting are quite small, and so it's easier to add them into my collection seamlessly than buying a big philodendron or something like that. And like, I'm in love with epipremnums, so that's never going to change, and I'm going to keep buying loads of those forever. So yeah, overall, I don't know, like, part of me feels like yes, that's a lot of money, but considering overall, on average, I spent less than £100 a month on plants, that is not terrible. Seeing as it's my job and like I make videos about it and stuff, that isn't that bad in my opinion. I know some people have spent a lot more, and that's not a bad thing. There's no shame in spending more. I am sharing this because I think it's important to be transparent about things and to show that this is not necessarily a cheap hobby. It can be. You can make this hobby very inexpensive if you're doing the right things and not buying plants or buying smaller plants, or if you're swapping instead or growing things from seed and stuff. There is like a very much so cheaper way of doing things, but that isn't always feasible for the plant addict. Yeah. So that is how much I spent on plants. There you go, have that information. If you are curious to know how much I spent on plant equipment, which I'll tell you now was more than I spent on plants this year, let me know in the comments below by putting the flying money emoji, and I can make that for you and you can know. Thank you all so much for watching. I really appreciate you being here. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up down below and leave a comment on other houseplanty things you'd like me to talk about in the future, and subscribe for more. Again, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye!